Welcome to a very special episode of Old Drunken Discography, an episode filled with wonder, excitement, and joy, with an extra helping of nostalgia. Tonight, we will be tackling the topics that are gripping today's youth, including and not limited to: is Taylor Swift a country artist? Is she pop? Both? Perhaps neither. Do genres even matter? Any and all references to Mutt Lange that may or may not suggest that he is an evil super genius criminal mastermind who is subverting the populace of the entire world to his twisted will through the manipulation of brain functions through the use of sound are completely unfounded and should not be taken seriously. Any and all evidence presented in supporting such outlandish beliefs are circumstantial at best, and at worst, the drunk ravings of an idiot being employed solely for comedic effect. Seriously, there's a great argument for him being the best producer ever. So please join us in tonight's revelry and be sure to enjoy yourself. Tonight's episode contains adult content, adult situations, adult language, drinking, graphic violence, and strong sexual content. Viewer discretion is advised. Thanks again for watching, and now, let's start drinking.
Greetings and welcome to Old Drunken Discography. This week we are talking about Def Leppard. I'm Jason. With me is Tim, Bill, and Cowboy.
The Cowboy.
We are talking about Adrenalize. 1992.
1992, yeah.
You know, Bill touched on it earlier about bad timing. I think this is the one where it was some bad timing.
Yes, indeed.
Cowboy, why don't you tell us about Adrenalize?
Adrenalize broke into the early 90s, still hanging on to the 80s. It didn't take over into transition as well because it was a crossover into the new decade, but it still went triple platinum. And to me, Adrenalize is, for nostalgic sake, freeze frames probably when I was 11 and 12 years old, between those 2 years. I remember, getting the tape and going out and just fell in love with it. Just another, but I wasn't as hyped about it as I was Hysteria. Even now, it's got its own, but it's not as good as Hysteria or Power Mate. White Lightning is takes another one of the songs from like Die Hard, The Hunter, and Paper Sun. Those kinds of songs are really my favorites on every album. Let's Get Rocked. I mean, come on. And I don't know how many of y'all have seen the video for it, but it's even more hilarious. They were playing around with new technology on some things with videos, and they made a big funny out of it. So they were poking fun at themselves, if more than anything. So I gave them the mad props for that. So, have you ever needed someone so bad? Very good power ballad. Even when I was 11 or 12 years old, before I was even interested in girls, that song just made me cry. It was just a really, really touching song. Tonight was another good one. I love the acoustic guitar played in that song. It sounds very, very good. Yeah, Adrenalize. Very good album, 1992. What else can I say?
All right. All right. Bill, what about you? What's your thoughts on Adrenalize?
Well. I mean, let's get rocked. You alluded to it. I said it in the first video. Unfortunate timing. This is 1992. Def Leppard, you just got done releasing Pyromania and Hysteria, both wildly successful. And you have new music and new sounds coming into the 90s. They're definitely getting more popularized. You tried to do similar formula, but you definitely were not as successful at it in these songs. I will say Let's Get Rocked, in my opinion, is one of their best starts. Maybe not the best, but one of their better starts, at least, to an album. And then as we just go through, honestly,
Better than Rock Till You Drop?
I said it. I didn't say it. I said it wasn't the best. I said it's one of the better.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
I mean, it's better than how Hysteria opened. I'm just leaving it at that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
The thing is, I'll be honest. When I see some of these song titles, I don't really think of Def Leppard. Really, like when I look at song titles, like White Lightning. I'll be honest. I think of George Jones. I'm probably the only one here that thinks of George Jones, but I do. Personal Property. I'll be honest. I think of Community Property by Steel Panther. Like, and I know that one's after that, but that's beside the point. This was just unfortunate timing. It's still a good album, but it's not. This is where they're starting to really just say, hey, let's just try and put out similar sounding stuff like every other successful band tries to do.
Okay. Yeah. Man. Well, so talking about the album first, obviously we lost Steve Clark after Hysteria. So this is the only album that is actually recorded as a 4-piece. Phil Collen records all the guitars here. Mm-hmm. And they bring in Vivian Campbell from Dio and Whitesnake and, a new wave of British heavy metal alum into the fold. He'll make his recording debut on the next one, unfortunately. But his first shows with the band were the Freddie Mercury tribute concerts, where they actually debuted Let's Get Rocked, I think.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The Freddie Mercury tribute.
Yeah. Man. So in 1992, 13-year-old Tim was definitely not on the Def Leppard train. But I was still in the let's just see what's coming out train and paying attention to MTV and Metal Edge magazine and all that good stuff. Mm. So I remember seeing the video premiere for Let's Get Rocked. And at 13, I thought it was the dumbest, most juvenile song I'd ever heard in my life. So really, from here on out, this is a completely new discography for me. I'd never heard this album beyond that one song, and Have You Ever Needed Someone So Bad? Because it was a single. I do remember hearing that. Mm-hmm. It made me laugh out loud every time they sang that line, and then he said, yeah, just cracked me up. Like, that's all you got? Yeah, I have needed someone so bad. Heaven Is was kind of rough to get through. Oh, I also should mention that of the 11 or the 10 songs on the album, Mutt Lange again has 9 songwriting credits. He did not necessarily produce the album, though. It was self-produced. So even without producing the album, he's still getting 9 points on the record. Steve Clark was dead, and they only gave him 7. I don't know. Yeah, 1992, the last thing I think the music world wanted was anything by Def Leppard that resembled Def Leppard. Had the next album, had Slang come out in 92. Well, no, it wouldn't have done well either. But,
No, it need to come out then because there's another band that I think inspired them for Slang, which I'll get when we get to talking about that album.
yes, we will. That's very inspired. That's a great word for it. Inspired. This one, however, is inspired by Hysteria. Stand Up. What was that? I liked it better when it was called Animal. And then Tear It Down. I liked better when it was called. Was that Rock Till You Drop? They were ripping off. They're the same songs. So that's a little tough. Make Love Like a Man. Horrible song. I Want to Touch You. Also, just like not where the world was at, not where music was at. And for their fifth album, we've actually just resorted to, like second grade lyrics. Like this is worse than Juvenile of an approach. So yeah, again, first time actually listening to this album, and I feel worse as a human for having heard it now. There was nothing on here that I enjoyed. Now, that being said, Phil Collins is an amazing guitar player. He is, of all the guitar players they've had, my least favorite. But he does a fantastic job here of trying to hold this train wreck of an album together. And did you guys notice too, like, okay, so Armageddon It was a hit, right? And we're still using electronic drums. So now the samples they used for Armageddon It are on every song here. It's like, well, one of these is sure to be a hit. So, like, because it's got the same drum sound. Yeah. Even the cover, it's like, it's Hysteria Light. It's, 2 parts Hysteria, 1 part water. Like, just watered down.
I think this album cover looks way better than Hysteria. That's a cool album cover.
Yeah.
I'll agree with Jason on that one, actually.
I mean, I'll agree it is better, but I guess what I'm trying to say then, I guess, is like, okay, so they had the cover for Pyromania, and then they had the cover for Hysteria, and they went, well, what should we do next?
Yeah,
and this, same color scheme.
Trust me, I know, because when I made the thumbnails, they're all blue, black, color scheme. But at the same time, I respect that. This album cover looks like a Def Leppard album cover.
For sure.
Here very soon, it will not look like a Def Leppard album cover, and we'll get to that.
That is true. You could almost even argue that this is the last one that does.
Yep. Well, they tried.
I was shocked at just how bad this album was. And granted, I mean, I've known it was going to be bad for 30 years without even having heard it, but it was actually worse than I expected.
All right. Well, for all the Def Leppard fans out there that are still here, let me follow up behind Tim, because y'all a bunch of haters, man. I like Adrenalize.
Oh wow! You have the Adrenalize album too? I didn't know that. Wow.
Now again, let me preface this by saying 1992 was the year that I discovered Nirvana.
Mm-hmm.
And once I discovered Nirvana, it was pretty much, boom.
Def Leppard sucks.
Yeah. 92, 93 was also the year that I met Cowboy. who is out of the frame again. Sit your ass up. Pay attention. It was also the year about that Def Leppard was on MTV. I don't remember Let's Get Rocked on MTV, but I remember Two Steps Behind. That's that same time frame.
Sure, yeah.
So again, nostalgia plays a lot into this. Not my
So
personal.
Two Steps Behind was the Last Action Hero soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That would have been 94 then.
Was it?
93? 93, 94. Yeah.
90.
Yeah.
Last Action Hero came out in 93.
Yeah, I think 93 was when you wrote Def Leppard wrote it sucks.
Yeah. That's
So-
when it was. It's on the Retro album.
But again, like, this was the newest Def Leppard album at the time.
Sure, yeah.
And this is the album that Cowboy played all the damn time, along with Hysteria and Pyromania. So I've always lumped the three together.
Yeah, see, at this point now, like, the Black Album's out, Blood Sugar Sex Magic is
there's a
out,
lot of better
Nevermind's
stuff
out,
Oh, yeah.
Bad Motor Figure. Like, there's a bunch of really good stuff out there that doesn't sound like 1987.
That's true. But when you're at Cowboy's house, you're in 1987. Okay. Let me start this off by saying, see Exhibit A, Track 1, Let's Get Rocked. First track, talking about rocking again. With
Sure.
Sonny. Way better than Woman. You got all the references, Chopin, Mozart, Beethoven, makes you want to scream. Heaven, it sounds like Bon Jovi, but not in a bad way. It's good. Make Love Like a Man. Sounds like a Hysteria leftover, only with better guitar work. It's more upbeat than Hysteria. Lyrics are dumb, but they're charming. Make love like a man. I'm a man. That's what I am. Yeah. Tonight, 80s ballad, check. Low point, boring. White Lightning, is what they dedicated to Steve Clark. Some of the strongest Def Leppard lyrics up to this point. Stand Up, I mean, it's not bad. It just really depends on.
But it was better on Hysteria.
But if you jumped on at the Hysteria point, you'd like that. Like, you would, that's a good.
Right, but literally, like, go back, it's, like, literally the same chords, same rhythm, same melody, same tempo.
So it's like Green Day's The American Dream, which is just Basket Case all over again.
Right. But this is next album.
Yeah. I mean, we've already established that Def Leppard, with Pyromania, whatever works is what they're going to do. It just so happens this album came out in 92.
Sure.
Bad timing.
And did not work.
Yeah.
Have you ever needed someone so bad?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the alcohol, maybe it's the nostalgia, but this is a damn good song. Come on, man. That pre-chorus, I saved your kisses for a rainy day, baby, let the moment take your heart away.
Well, okay, so...
Yes.
So that song's going to get me into it, because this is really the first time that it really becomes, like, really transparent that if, I don't know, Mutt Lange's future wife, Shania Twain, sang that song.
Well, then she's ripping off Def Leppard.
But they would literally not have to change anything, and it would have been the same song.
Well,
and
that's interesting. Because my notes say this music is written to get inside a woman's panties, which is basically Def Leppard in a nutshell.
Sure. And it's also that country ballad formula.
Yeah.
That that Mutt Lange, I guess, is perpetuating through hard rock music.
I know you're trying to push this Mutt Lange overlord agenda here.
It's coming up. It's going to come up real strong. Like even Cowboy said earlier, with Hysteria. His goal was to get a Thriller, which is the #1 best-selling album of all time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And he already had the #2. Like, it wasn't enough. He needed more. Like, how many hit singles does Back in Black have? Like 5 or 6.
Yeah, but Mutt didn't do Adrenalize. Like, he didn't produce it.
No, he wrote it.
he wrote some of it.
Hey, he didn't write Tear It
9
Down.
out of 10 songs.
Hey, Tear It Down wasn't written by him. Leave it alone.
No, but Tear It Down was better on Pyromania when it was called Producer of Rock Till You Drop. I gotta go back,
but Tear It Down is the second best closer since Billy's Got a Gun on Pyromania.
Yes, yeah, it was a good closer. Very good.
It may be the same closer, but it's
like same notes, same tempo, same rhythm, same delivery. It's the same song.
I'm gonna say not having Mutt is not the biggest problem. Not losing a member of the band, not the biggest problem. The biggest problem was it came out in 1992. If this would have came out in 1989, it would have been.
It probably would have done pretty good. Yeah,
it would have done great.
Yeah.
Or
might have kept Paula Abdul off the charts.
Yeah, I mean this. I like Adrenalize. To me, like this to me is like the triple Def Leppard shit.
Okay.
All right, so before we rank them, we got to very quickly talk about Retroactive, which was 93, so that checks out with Last Action Hero.
Sure, yeah.
I'm going to go on the record and say probably one of their best record album covers.
Yes. Very, very cool album cover.
Like they recreated that famous painting. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw this album, I thought it was just a skull sitting in the middle of some clouds.
Honestly, I would lump Retroactive in with my triple Def Leppard because, again, this is when I was hanging out in his house playing Mario Kart, and I controlled the radio 90% of the time, but every once in a while I would let him play something, and it would be either Def Leppard or Rick Springfield. And out of the two, I like Def Leppard more, so I would influence. I was like, just play Retroactive. I'd rather listen to that than fucking Jesse's Girl again. So, I again, nostalgia for this one. I'm gonna say one of my top songs is gonna come off Retroactive. I think this is a great B-sides compilation.
Yes.
We don't consider it an album. This isn't their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This isn't their 6th album, despite what Def Leppard tries to tell you later. It's a collection of B-sides.
Yeah. That's why it's called Retroactive.
And I actually found this one pretty enjoyable when I listened to it. It's especially compared to Adrenalize. There's a couple tracks here that even have Steve Clark on them. Like they're old, and like their cover of Action I really liked. 2 Steps Behind is again one of those songs where, like, okay, Def Leppard singing it here, but if Toby Keith had sang it first, it'd literally be the same song.
But he didn't sing it first.
He didn't. But it's very, Kelly Clarkson could have sang it.
She could.
No,
it's very much the formula that's about to take over pop music in the 21st century.
And this is 1993.
So it's ahead of its time. It's ahead of the game.
Def Leppard are definitely toward a ground zero for what happened to radio. Like, we'll get there. We're not quite to the year yet, but there is a time where corporate music companies in this country put all their money into two formats, and Def Leppard is kind of the template for it.
The ground zero.
Yeah.
I will say that there's too much Miss You in a Heartbeat on this collection.
Yeah.
Well, you got the acoustic, you got the electric, you got the piano.
I spent way too many minutes of my time, my precious time on this planet, listening to the two versions of this song to figure out which one I like more. Between the piano version of Heartbeat and the acoustic version.
Ooh, and which one did you come up with? The electric version?
No, the acoustic.
The acoustic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The electric's already the electric version is the best, but then after that, I'd go with acoustic.
Okay, so piano version is last.
Yeah, and two steps behind, acoustic all the way.
Acoustic all the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Desert Song. That shit sounds like fucking Alice in Chains.
Yeah. We'll bet.
They got a little sludgy on that one.
That one was pretty cool.
I wish they would have played Desert Song live. They had a big following that everybody wanted to play. That they never would. You know. It goes along with the same fan following that follows Slang.
I mean, again, you know, I usually there's a lot of bands that I like lean towards their B-sides, and I think Def Leppard kind of, you know, they got some decent B-sides.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else got anything to add about Retroactive before we rank Adrenalize?
Nope.
Negatory.
Oh yeah, you are
better than Adrenalize.
All right, so we are going to rank Adrenalize. I told y'all
ranking Retroactive
a couple videos ago. Keep watching, you'll see us get drunker and drunker. All right, Adrenalize. Bill, is it your turn to guess?
Yeah, I guess it's my turn to guess this one. So I'm gonna go with what I think is the gimme here. It's going in 5th place for Tim. I feel like that's pretty safe.
That is correct.
Yeah, that's a safe bet. Hold on.
I mean, I'll go with the second easiest one and say it's in 4th place for me.
It's in 4th place for you?
Yes. Say the second easiest one to guess. Now, based on how we were talking the other night, Jason,
fuck, I was drunk the other night and told you inside information, didn't I?
Well, no, not so much. I was the one that alluded to it, right? So, I think this was back, Friday or Saturday? Like, hey, Jason, I'm pretty sure that Adrenalize is going to be your number one album. He said, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's going to be. And I'm gonna say it's still your number one album.
You, sir, are incorrect.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I feel like it's going to go
better than Pyromania. You out your damn mind?
I feel like it's going to... I'm going to say 3. I'm going to say it's going to go behind High and Dry. Or does it actually go right to 2?
You wrong again.
Is it 2?
It's 2. It's 2, baby.
Wow.
I like Adrenalize. I got a lot of fond memories of listening to this record, unfortunately.
Well, whatever you did, Cowboy, it apparently worked.
At Street Fighter 2, I'd be beating his ass with Blanca, listening to a fucking let's go.
And then Cowboy, I'm gonna guess number 3. I forgot what Cowboy said about this album at this point. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's gonna go at number 3.
Oh, perfect.
Excellent.
Okay, I'll take 3 for 4. Considering my insider information with Jason was wrong.
All right, so that is our rankings for Adrenalize. Obviously, I like it more than you bunch of haters.
It's just not as good.
Not as good as Hysteria, man.
I mean, that is true.
I disagree. I think Adrenalize.
Tim agrees with me.
I think y'all need to go back and listen to some Adrenalize. Y'all need to get adrenalized.
Do we need to get rocked?
You need, yep, exactly. All right, up next, slang, and we'll be talking about Vault. We'll mention Vault, I guess, because they had one single new song off that. But anyway, stick around, like, subscribe. We'll see you on the next side.